In order to set up routing, I will create a new file in the app folder and name it app-routing.ts. Angular 2 ships with a built-in router. This router is very powerful, but we need to tell it which routes our application has, of course. Telling it is very simple though. We do it in this file. Here, I want to create a constant which I name app_routes, this name is up to you, which is of type routes. This is a type provided by the @Angular router package. This type expects us to provide an array of routes where each route is represented by a JavaScript object, like this. And each route then has a path, which is the part we see in the URL after the slash. So something like /auth, for example, or /messages. Let's indeed use this. Let's create a messages path to load our messages component. To tell Angular 2 to load this component, I add another property to this object, which is named component, and where I point to my messages component like this. Also import it from /messages component. With this, I set up a route, but Angular 2 isn't aware of it yet. We will add it soon. I will duplicate this to also provide an auth route where I load my authentication component and also add this import. And finally, I also want to handle the case that the user simply visits this route here, /nothing. To do this, I will duplicate the first route and set the path to nothing. And then here I want to redirect to /messages. This will lead to this route always resolving in a redirection to, and now this is important, /messages means always use your domain and then append /messages directly. If I would have just messages, it would always append messages to the end of the existing path, which could be localhost/user. And I don't want to go to localhost/user/messages, but I always want to go to localhost/messages, which is why I use an absolute path here. I also need to add another property here, which is called path match, and I will set this to full. Why do I need this? The Angular 2 router works in a way that by default, it tries to match any part of the path with the path you set up here. Now the problem with the empty path is every path includes this. Even if you have /messages, you have this invisible empty part between the domain and your path thereafter. So the empty path is always present. Therefore, if we don't add path match full, which overrides the default behavior, Angular 2 would always redirect to messages, even if we visit /auth. With path match full, we tell Angular 2 only react to this path if this is the full path. So not if it is included here, but if there is nothing else than this path. With that, we get the desired behavior that we only redirect to /messages if we visit the root page, so localhost/nothing, and not any other route. Well, with that, the routes are set up, though Angular 2 still isn't aware of them. To make it aware, we use the built-in router module Angular 2 ships with, which needs to import it from @Angular router. And there we can register new routes with the forRoute method. And here we pass our routes. This registers our routes in the Angular 2 router module for our application. Now the last step is to import this router module in the app module. Though if I were to import router module like this, it would not work, because that would mean the router module without our custom routes. So we need to re-export this modified router module here. Therefore, I will export a constant named routing, which I assign to router module forRoute, and then our routes. Therefore, now in the imports array in our app module, I can simply import routing from app routing. So also add this import path here. With this, I make this module, this router module with our custom routes available in this application. I register it here, and Angular 2 is now aware of our routes. We can already see this in action, though we first need to give Angular 2 a place to render these routes. It's nice that we set up that we want to load the messages component in this case and the authentication component in this case, but where should we load it? In order to give Angular 2 a place, I will now add a horizontal line in the app component HTML file and add a new built-in directive here, router outlet. It looks like a component, but it simply is a directive telling Angular 2, here is the place where you should load the router loaded components. So this will be the place where these components will be rendered. So let's save this and then reload the application. And now you see I instantly get redirected to messages, which is great. And if I click on auth or enter auth here, I go there. Of course, these links don't work though, because, well, we haven't hooked them up. Let's do this next.